The Ragin Cajuns take down LSU and advance to the Super Regionals. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz back with another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Yesterday was a very long day. I left Lafayette at quarter of noon and got home at I went to bed at quarter of midnight. So that's a long day. It was an incredible day, one that I really didn't see coming. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen this movie before, kind of like this LSU baseball team supposed to be really good, and then injuries happen. We've seen that movie before. But we've seen the Ragin Cajun softball team be very, very good and then come up short. Not enough hitting. Not enough pitching. Like the number ones have always been good, right? The number one, Jordan Wallace's and the Summer Ellisons and the ones that were there before I got here were really good. And that's all the Cajuns had. They would never have the deep pitching staff. And once it got to the middle of the first game on Sunday, and LSU was replacing their starter, it's up for grabs. And it just didn't kind of go the way you thought it would, even at that point. So let's quickly recap. We'll give you that whole thing, right? I mean, Cajuns come from what I like to call come from ahead victory in game 2 on Sunday, defeat LSU 9-8. There were 2 6-run innings in that game. The Cajuns had one, the Tigers had one, or the Tigers had a 5-run inning. And then Washington had a 7-run 7th inning. The Cajuns were going to host the Super Regional. Instead, they're heading out to the Great Northwest. That's fine. All right, so let's get back to game 1, all right, of the Sunday matchup. And I will say it was a very odd regional, right? The Sun Belt tournament was very close, really good pitching, and we saw some spectacular defense. Like everybody made almost every single play. The one team that didn't was South Alabama, and they ended up losing to Marshall because of the defense. And sometimes that gets overlooked a lot. And defense to me is much harder in softball than it is in baseball. You had, shortstops, it's all one motion. You are not setting up and throwing. All right. Any kind of pitcher bobbles it, chances are you're not making a play. And we saw that play out yesterday. And so what happens? Cajuns fall behind. They actually get on top, I think, 1-0. All right. But then they fall behind. Where's the box score here? They actually fall behind. Cajuns did get up on 1-0, but they fall behind 4-1. And, some bad defense by, in this case, Alexa Langoliers. She dropped a bouncer to her. There were a couple plays that were ruled errors in the second game that were hit hard. But this one was a chopper. And if she goes to first base, out. And then the next play where she ends up throwing home, high throw, safe. You're not throwing home if you get the first out. So what should have been a 2-1 ball game ends up being a 4-1 ball game. And this is kind of the story that we've seen, throughout this Cajun softball team for the last decade. I know they've overcome LSU once. They've been to Omaha a couple of times, or to Oklahoma City, I guess, one time. Not Oklahoma City, Norman. I think they played Oklahoma. We've seen this movie before. They always just come up short. And then kind of quietly, they start coming back. Alexa Langoliers hits a home run, right? Makes it a 4-2 ball game. Let's see here. She homers to begin the bottom of the second, and now it's 4-2. And then all of a sudden, Capone comes out of the game. She hits Maddie Hayden and Maya Davis singles, and there's runners on base, and I guess on second and third maybe, and Kilponen is out of the ballgame. And that's their ace, or was their ace, and I guess she struggled down the stretch a little bit, and that would prove to be the difference later on. And then, they score a couple more runs there. Did they score one more run? Let me see here. I lost it. They scored one more run in the inning, so they made it 4-3. The big blow came in the third. Jordan Campbell with a pinch hit 3-run home run, and that was basically the game. Kendra Lamb, she started, I think. It's all one big ball game. So, Megan Schwarman started it, and she gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, but really should have gotten out of it a little bit sooner. And then Sam Landry came in and shut the door. 5 shutout innings. The only base hit she gave up was a little flare, which made things interesting in the 7th inning, right? Georgia Clark hits a deep fly ball. It was ruled foul. I'm seeing on Twitter that they said it went over the pole. I mean, you can really see on the replay that a Ragin Cajun fan catches it to, well, if you're looking at it, from home plate, to the left of the pole. He is like 3 or 4 people to the left of the pole. It wasn't really close. All right. I'm sitting next to LSU people, and they're like, yeah, that's foul. So not so close. So, and Landry gets the job done, and the Cajuns win the ball game 7-4. All right. Now you're going to Sydney Berzon for LSU, and you're playing in game 2. Do we need to take a break here? You know what? Let's take a break. We'll come back and do game 2. We do have baseball to talk about as well. The Ragin Cajuns will try to defend their title. They will not play until Wednesday night late. Coastal Carolina had the option of when to play. They chose to play earlier, which is probably smarter. You never know with rain how long you may have to wait. So let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about game 2 of the Ragin Cajuns. Their come from ahead victory over LSU. But now it's time to talk Built Bar. I've already had one. I did, for some reason, I bought them yesterday before the game. Like when I said I left at 11:45, it was from the Walmart parking lot picking these up. I didn't bring any in with me. I did a good job. I lost weight this weekend, which is incredible driving back and forth to Baton Rouge. That is unlike me. Usually too much soda, chips, cooked candy. I did a good job. But now we have the Built Puffs, the Built Bar Puffs, to help me out this week and get me going. I'll tell you my weight. I don't care. I weighed in under 212. I'm going home in a month. I'm going home to visit Mama Schultz in a month. We'll do the shows from home again. And I'm going to lose 5 pounds in a month, hopefully more, but 5 pounds is really the goal. Are you looking for a delicious snack but don't want all the sugar and calories? Then you need the best tasting protein bar ever built. You got to try this. If you're like me and want to make healthier snack choices but don't want to compromise on taste, I've got just the thing for you. Built Bars and Built Puffs. Built Bars are healthy and taste amazing. They taste so amazing you won't think they're good for you. You got to try this. What makes Built Bars so good? Well, for starters, they're all covered in 100% real dark chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and cookies and cream. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is that they're healthy for you. Only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering Built Bars at Built.com. But now you get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club, while you can still get specialty flavors at Built.com. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today. Walk to the pharmacy section and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate bar, or a coconut puff. Or do what I do. I go to Sam's and run in and grab a 13-bar box with our flavors, brownie batter puff and churro puff. You can thank me later. I guess I do go to Sam's. I went to Sam's first, as it turns out, and then I went to Walmart. Got these at Sam's. They are good for you. I like them, and they fill you up, and they are chewy. So it feels like that's a big deal for me. It may be psychological. I drink a lot of protein shakes and a lot of protein, but the bar gives me the idea that I'm eating something. And it's a psychological thing. So it fills me up. All right. Dave Schultz back with more Locked On Sunbelt. Your team every day talking Cajun softball, advancing to the Super Regionals. Game 2. Blink of an eye. It's 6-0 Cajuns. First inning. They scored a run in the first 3 batters, like really fast. I mean, before you could figure it out. Single down the line, the left field line by Maya Davis. Stormy on a fielder's choice. Davis advanced to third on an error by the second baseman. I think that threw it in. I think she threw it into right field. And Stormy goes to second, and Davis scores on a wild pitch. I'm not even sure that was like 8 pitches in. It was no, it's like 4 pitches in or something along those lines. All right, Davis singled on a 1-0. Stormy swung and hit on a 1-0, and then the wild pitch came. It was 1-0 fast, right? And then Piscos walked, Aldred walked. Heath grounded out to second, and then Langoliers walked. So it's 2-0, but they got a shot to get out of this. Except Jordan Campbell homers off what my dad calls a fair pole. It's not the foul pole. If it hits it, it's a fair ball, right? If it hits the pole, it's a fair ball. It's the fair pole, according to the judge. And it's 6-0. And I'll be honest with you, I was shocked that Beth Torina stayed with Sydney Berzon to pitch to Jordan Campbell. Not even later on in the game. Forget about later on in the game. Having said that, it did work until later on in the game. She settled right down in the second, third innings, fourth innings, right? Does give up a run in the 6th and 2 in the 7th, but that's later on. I can't even believe Sydney Berzon came out in the first, and Beth Torina, the LSU head coach, goes, well, they got 6 runs on 2 hits. They're not exactly crushing her. No, but she can't throw a strike. That's why it was a grand slam. So I was kind of shocked at that. And then she stayed with her. Was even more shocking. So, and then at the time, right, I mean, we can second guess the original decision, but the next decision worked out until the end. Okay. So the Cajuns are up, 6-0. Georgia Clark, who almost homers to tie the game up in game 1, does homer. And a little controversy, she's rounding first base, going into second base, points at the umpire and basically says, is that one fair? I mean, I don't know what happens, but if you get thrown out in the middle of a home run trot, does the run count? Later on in the game, Georgia Clark would get called out, would point again at the umpire, and this time get thrown out. In her defense, the second time, she was right. Doesn't justify what she did, but the home plate umpire, I don't know if it was just a long, hot day or whatever the case was, really lost control of what was going on at the plate. Okay. So the Cajuns defense once again falters. It was so good for that Sun Belt Conference tournament and a few games here in Baton Rouge, in the Baton Rouge Regional. But Carly Heath, who gets the nod to start for the Cajuns, could have been 3 up, 3 down through the 3rd. And it's a 6-1 ball game, and now you're in the 4th. Couldn't get it done. The defense let her down. This is where, in the postgame show, Jerry Glasgow was admitting, they may have been errors, but those balls were rocking hard. They were hit hard. And they were. Those were hit incredibly hard. But you still had 1 on and 2 out. Briggs reached on an error by Alexa at short, and that was one of those hard hit balls. And then you had Pleasance with a single, Clark with a single, Newland walked, Redouty with a double, and Petty single. 5 2-out base hits. All those runs are unearned. No one cares about that because now it is 6-6. Now it's 6-6. Actually, they did have a 6-run inning. They had a 6-run 3rd inning. They actually take the lead, 7-6. So that's there was 2 6-run innings yesterday and a 7-run inning yesterday. And that's only 2 games. I don't know what happened the rest of the games in college softball. So it was a 6-run third inning. It's 7-6. They add another run in the fourth. LSU does. They leave 8-6. And this is, again, the movie we've all seen, kind of a tragic ending, and it's good to know that I'm not the only one thinking about it. Even Jerry Glasgow is thinking about it. How do you go to a press conference where you've blown a 6-0 lead in the championship ball game, and the Cajuns just quietly come back? I'm going to have to look it up. I'm not sure if they were behind Ole Miss, but according to Kevin Foote of the Acadiana Advocate, their last win in their final at bat was against Ole Miss at home. I got to go back to see if they were behind in that ball game. Very well could have been tied, because they've never been shut out all year until LSU did it. Would this be the first time they're able to come back? Carly Heath, by the way, again, another solo home run, right? We talked about Alexa's solo home run that got the comeback going in game 1. Now all of a sudden you get a Carly Heath home run, and instead of down 8-6 heading into the 7th inning, you're down 8-7. Kind of interesting. Beth Torina sticking with Berzon, and I'm actually writing a tweet out. Final LSU 8, Cajuns 7, right? LSU advances to the Super Regional. All right. Before I could finish typing it up, the Cajuns had runners on at second and third, 1 out. 2 base hits quickly, and a intentional bunt and a sacrifice bunt. All right. Guess who's at the plate? And this is the weirdest thing we've seen. Jordan Campbell. So you already have the go-ahead. The tying run is on at third. The go-ahead run is on second. The runner on going to first base isn't that big a deal, and it sets up a double play. They tried to intentionally walk Jordan Campbell. It did not work. The first pitch over the catcher's head. Tie game. They're still trying to walk Jordan Campbell, and they're throwing strikes. Cindy Berzon can't intentionally walk somebody. Campbell comes up with a RBI base hit, gives the Cajuns a 9-8 lead. I thought maybe a Kelly Leak reference would be appropriate, except she really didn't. That's a Bad News Bears reference, right? They're going to intentionally walk Kelly Leak. And Walter Matthau says, reach across the plate and see if you can hit it. Well, this one was actually over the plate, and Jordan Campbell did it. Only 8 runs batted in on the day. She had a 3-run home run, pinch hit home run in the first game. In the first inning, she had a grand slam. And now she has an RBI single to put the Cajuns on top. And they're up 9-8. One of the unsung heroes, and it really shouldn't be, is the Cajuns' left-hander. Let me see here. Well, that's not who. Am I at the wrong spot? Oh, maybe Kendra Lamb did come. Rosado. I thought Rosado pitched. Did I get that wrong? The left-hander is the one who I thought finished off the game, Rosado. That's what I think. I think that box score is wrong. At least online it is. The left-hander finished off the game. Alexa Langeliers makes a spectacular catch in foul territory, making it 2 outs. They do get, I thought they got a runner on in the 7th. Petty fouled out, but Gutierrez singled to center, but Stewart fouled out to Maddie Hayden down the left field line. So all in all, just a ridiculous day of softball. It was a great weekend in Baton Rouge for the Ragin Cajuns. A really tough loss for LSU. And, I think that the odd part is about that LSU-UL thing is that the fans don't like each other more than the teams. All right? The teams like each other, right? Beth Torina, she's devastated. She's like, we like playing UL. They're nice girls. They're asking about my daughters is what, Beth Torina is saying. We like playing them. She was upset, which we mentioned, about playing UL. the 9th RPI team, LSU, should not have been playing the 11th RPI team. And they do that for convenience and travel, and it's not right. And she's right to be upset about it. And it's not crying over spilt milk. We brought it up beforehand. So this is the first time I've had the chance to have her answer that question, and we saw that she was upset about it. All right, quickly, let's take a timeout. We will talk about the Sun Belt Baseball Championship coming up this week. Can the Ragin Cajuns do it again? They've won a Sun Belt Championship in basketball. They've won a Sun Belt Championship in golf. They've won a Sun Belt Championship in softball. Can baseball? They're the defending champions. They'll have their work cut out for them. We'll talk about that next. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back and we'll talk Sun Belt baseball. The tournament bracket is out and all the action gets underway on Tuesday in Montgomery. But first, let's talk a little FanDuel. And make a fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. There's no better place to bet all of the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks very much for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt. The channel continues to grow. We will get back to football once, the baseball and the softball are done. We'll have some teams in the NCAA tournament. Coastal's going to be in the NCAA tournament. Southern Miss is going to be in the NCAA tournament. We'll see if one of those teams are not the automatic bid teams. Does Texas State or Troy get in? Do the Cajuns get in? It'll be interesting to see what happens down the stretch. But, suffice to say, I'm really appreciative sticking with us here through the move from Mobile to Lafayette. We're a little bit more regular, shall we say, although it was a little bit late today because it was a late night yesterday. But remember, when you see it on YouTube, like it, share it. If you see it on Facebook and Twitter, do the same. And don't forget, you can get it wherever you get your audio podcasts, Amazon, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And if it's on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review. It is a big help. Thank you so much for continuing to tune in to Locked On Sunbelt. All right, quickly, let's go over the championship bracket. Let me see if I get it a little bit more. I got a bracket here. That may be easier. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. All right, so you get the first round, and that's single elimination. That's Tuesday. That's not a whole lot of rest for teams that played on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So you have number 7, James Madison, falls out of the top 6, right? They went from 11th to 4th, back to 6th, and now they finished 7th. So they had a bad weekend. James Madison will take on Old Dominion, and you get the Georgia schools going at it, so that's a nice rivalry game. James Madison, Old Dominion at 3 p.m. Central Time, I'm presuming. All games, I'm going to guess that's Central Time. And Georgia Southern taking on Georgia State, 6:30 p.m. And those are single eliminations. Okay. Now we go with, let's say, the left side of the bracket. First thing in the morning, Troy, number 3, Troy takes on App State. The number 6 seed, Troy takes, the Cajuns lose on Saturday, so they couldn't have gotten the number 3 seed. Troy ends up getting the 3 seed. They get App State. The winner of that will take on Southern Miss. Southern Miss is the number 2 seed, so they'll get the winner of the 8-9 ball game. That will be at 12:30. Okay. We go now to the other side of the bracket, and you get the 4-5 game. Actually, it's the number 1 seed, Coastal Carolina, is playing at 4. And this is if none of these games go extra, if none of these games go long, and if there's no rain. I'm not holding my breath. Coastal Carolina is scheduled to play at 4 p.m. The Chanticleers, your number 1 seed, will get the winner of James Madison and Old Dominion. Cajuns take on Texas State. Now, here's the thing. Texas State takes 2 out of 3 from ULM, but the Cajuns just swept them at home. That's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy at all. We will hear from Matt Deggs later on today. Who's going to be the pitcher? Are you going with Nezu on regular rest, or are you going with Fluno on short rest? I get they're both going to be on short rest because this is, not Friday to Friday or even, Thursday to Thursday. It's, one's Thursday to Wednesday and one is Friday to Wednesday. So we will see what happens there. Can the Cajuns take down Texas State? And they would advance to the winner of Coastal taking on James Madison in Old Dominion. And we'll see what Coastal does. Do they throw their ace in the first game knowing it's double elimination, right? So do they throw their number 2 pitcher and save their ace for the next round? So we'll see. The thought about this is the potentially, we may head up to Montgomery if the Cajuns make the semis, which will make for a very early morning. Maybe I leave Friday. Maybe I can go crash in Mobile because they play 12:30 on Saturday. It's a 6.5 hour ride. So that makes for a quick Saturday, long Saturday ride in the morning. But maybe if I break it up, do a little bourbon shopping in Alabama on Saturday morning. Could always do that. So again, I know that Scott Watkins thinks it's wide open. I don't. I think it's going to be Coastal Carolina or Southern Miss. Of course, for the PGA Championship, I thought it would be, John Rahm or Scotty Scheffler, and we got that wrong as well. So who knows? It could be very interesting. And again, with a double elimination, you never do know. So the Cajuns absolutely have a shot. Their bats and a little of the frontline pitching is pitching very well. The back end pitching, not so great. So we will see. And then you have Cooper Rawls. We'll see what happens there. So, all right, a little bit longer than I thought we were going to go on a Monday morning. Yeah, way longer. I do want to thank you so much for tuning in. We'll continue to preview the Ragin' Cajun softball. They will take on Washington, the Huskies, with a 7-run 7th inning, taking down McNeese. The Cajuns were so close to hosting this Super Regional, but now they'll be going to the Great Northwest. And, of course, we'll be talking Sunbelt baseball as well as the Sunbelt Conference Tournament is getting underway on Tuesday. Again, have a great week, everybody. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. Thanks for tuning in. Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.